In that pass interference call on T.Y. Hilton, Alberto Riveron needs to be run out of Park Avenue, needs to be run out of the game. He's not helping, he's hurting. And that goes across all of the board. I'm not just talking about the hand slap from the Green Bay Packers on the head of the Dak Prescott guy. Terrible call.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the pass interference that they refused to overturn in the other game. I'm talking about that T.Y. Hilton pass interference on a rub route where it looked like T.Y. was trying to get out of the way. Alberto Riveron refuses to overturn the pass interference because he's taking a stand that he doesn't like the way the rules are being changed because he's an NFL ref and his job's getting harder. And my judgment calls are my judgment calls. No review can change it. Shut up, Alberto. Just make the damn call how it's supposed to be. You don't make the rules, you enforce them, Alberto Riveron. He's public enemy number one, not only for this show, but for the entire NFL. That's going to cost some people some real things down the line.
Yeah.
Imagine if the Colts lose that game to the Chiefs because of that pass interference. That was a phantom call that, by the way, the NFL knew that these phantom calls happen sometimes, and sometimes refs get it wrong, Alberto. Sometimes you guys make mistakes on live time. So, like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to allow them the opportunity to review it if we're completely wrong. So they review it, and Alberto goes, nah, no, that's still it. Don't worry about it. No, it's not, Alberto. I hate you, Alberto. I hate you, Al Riveron.
It's getting to the point, and we mentioned this earlier, where it's like the games are almost unwatchable because every play you're just like, all right, let's wait. Let's see what flag's coming in here.
Flag.
You mentioned them, ruining, potentially like ruining games and costing people. Bad late hit at the end of the Steelers-Ravens game.
Oh, my God, that sent him down to the field goal.
Position for Justin Tucker to send it into overtime. It's just, I mean, it's affecting teams right now, and there's no indication that it's going to get any better.
No, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
And Chris Collinsworth had one of the most hilarious lines I think it's one of the most hilarious lines I've ever heard a commentator say. Yeah. I don't think commentators are that funny normally, but
no, definitely not.
He said, I think that's an incompletion, but after watching football all day today, I have no idea. He threw in the towel. He was like, listen, I don't think anybody knows what the rules are except for Alberto Riveron. He's the only guy. He's like the judge, jury, and executioner of this whole thing. He decides what goes and what doesn't go. When is Commissioner Goodell going to sit him down and say, listen, you either get with the program or you get the hell out? And that's what I'm waiting for him to do. It's only a matter of time. That pass interference on T.Y. Hilton, I think the entire internet was like, there's no way they uphold this call. Everybody was like, primetime television, millions of people watching, potential upset to what people are saying is the most talented team in a long time. This call is a microscope on it. This has been talked about since the Saints game. This has been talked about a lot by a lot of people, just the refs refusing to do the right thing in these situations. And everybody was like, I actually thought to myself, I had a tweet ready to go like, oh, good for Al. You know, he's heard the criticism. Good for Al. He's come around on this whole thing. He admits his mistakes. He's getting better. But instead, it's complete opposite.
Yeah.
Somehow he makes the worst call he's ever made in the whole season. When we thought he couldn't suck anymore, somehow he turns it into a complete suck fest on Sunday Night Football, which you would think the NFL at some point would get sick of. The NFL would be sick of like, hey, Al, you're embarrassing a game right now. Nobody knows the damn rules because you refuse to enforce them the way they're supposed to. At some point, Roger Goodell has to call Alberto Riveron and say, call the game how it's supposed to be called. Your refs on the field stink. Not all of them. That's a broad brush. But a large majority of your refs on the field stink. We're putting review in to help your stinky-ass refs that you have on the field. Mm-hmm. And you refuse to let them help. You refuse to help them out by overturning calls. I just hate it. I'm sick of Alberto Riveron.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier to swallow after a win, but that Packers-Cowboys game was the worst officiated game I've ever seen in my life. Both sides. Both sides. Like, the Cowboys got screwed on a couple big calls. So did the Packers. And it's just... Again, it's to the point where, what's going to happen? They just going to keep ruining these games or what?
It's almost like the replacement refs are in right now.
Yeah.
This is kind of the feel as if the replacement refs are in from top to bottom. It feels like we're back in those days. Green Bay Packers had a hell of a situation with the replacement refs. Mm-hmm. How about Walt Anderson in that coin toss going into overtime?
Yeah.
Now, granted, Steelers deferred, which... is a wildly aggressive move. Wow. Especially when you got the human duck, Devlin Hodges, world champion duck caller, went in there, didn't blink an eye after the Mason Rudolph situation. He couldn't even handle the coin toss. The coin toss became an entire cluster truck. It makes no sense to me.